I think everyone's preconception of sailing is it's elitist, beautiful yachts sailing by very sunny beaches to slow-moving music.
People take boats out on holidays, you know, they go cruising, they sleep overnight on the boat.
We just go to beautiful locations the whole time, it's tranquil.
Sailing is an elitist sport, it's for the rich people.
People say you have a fantastic job, but because they come to sail on the boat 1 hour, it's sunny, it's perfect, and it's a dream, but this is not really like it is.
The Volvo Ocean race is not your normal sailing jaunt. 11 grueling legs across 45,000 nautical miles, 4 oceans and 6 continents. It's one of the toughest races on the planet. One team having a second crack at trying to win it, a Chinese entry Dongfeng Race Team, skippered by Frenchman CAUDRELIER.
I think it's the biggest challenge for me is to manage the people, to manage the team. It's really complicated and because you have to give the energy, you have to be positive, and it's really difficult. 9 months, you have some high, you have some low, and in the low it's really difficult always you have to take care about you, but also the other one, and it's a lot of pressure, but it's also the most fantastic job for a sailor to be skipper on this race. It's just a dream for me.
Transworld Sport joined the team as they prepared for Leg 9, the transatlantic voyage from Newport, USA to Cardiff, Wales. Second on the leaderboard, Dongfeng were well placed going into what's seen as the final big act of the race.
For me, it's a huge challenge. It's probably the hardest thing I will ever have done. I love being surrounded by people and sharing experiences with my teammates, so the teamwork for me is probably one of the most important things. And I'm a very competitive person. I love competition, and the Volvo Ocean race has all these ingredients.
On board a 65-foot boat with just the basics doesn't seem like the best of jobs, but life goes on as normal once out at sea.
Probably sounds pretty boring for an average person. You know, we try and get into a certain routine. We don't have an automatic pilot on board, so we fully rely on the crew to sail the boat, to push the boat, to always be trying to make the boat go that 0.1 of a knot faster to beat the competition. The race throws everything at you, and yeah, you try and enjoy and get through all the moments as best you can together.
The teams compete in a Volvo 65 class of monohull racing yachts. It's a fast, wet and unforgiving boat. Once on dry land, it's up to the shore teams to get them back up and running for the next leg. Graham Turrell is Dongfeng's boat captain.
The boat's normally in a fairly shocking state by the time it hits the dock. It looks like it's been burgled, but once you get over the initial clean, then structurally the boats are pretty sound. A pretty short window between the boat arriving and then the sailors disappearing off to get some rest and recuperation. So that's our window for the technical team to sit down with the sailors and have a debrief with the preparation of the boat, how it sailed, what's worked, what hasn't worked, what needs repairing, and then any of the jobs that haven't made it onto the job list that they think, oh yeah, okay, I remember that didn't work very well, or I found this that was broken. So that's our short window, because after that we then get on with our maintenance schedule that we have for the stopover, and the sailors go off and have some rest.
Eyes and ears on the boat for Graham is Jack BOUTALL. Taking part in his first full campaign, he's experienced the notorious Southern Ocean for the first time.
It's just somewhere that no one goes anymore. Or no one goes in general. You would never go there otherwise. It's super remote, super hostile, super difficult to do anything, and it was a really cool thing to experience.
Yet even in hostile weather conditions, life on board is friendly.
It's sort of amazingly easy in a way, because, well, for one, looking at it from one side, I guess you don't have a choice. It's sort of the bunch you put with from day one. So I think you go into it with the attitude that this is the new gang, and everyone gels really quickly.
Having to spend long periods away at sea with very little contact from loved ones tests the sailors mentally. Darryl Wislang is now into his 5th race.
there's, you know, not a moment that goes by that you're not thinking about them, because everything that you do ultimately has an impact on them, for the better or for the worse. You know, like if you put yourself in a dangerous situation, then you've ultimately put them in a bad situation as well. So you've got to, you know, you do have to think about what you're doing and how you're doing it.
Wife Jess, along with Pearl and Theo, have said hello and goodbye at every port during the race. The kids have grown accustomed to this way of life, but it can be tough.
So when he's on the boat, we can email him. There's no pictures, just text, and it goes via a channel of people, so we're not giving any outside assistance. So it's very impersonal, but I try to keep him up to date as much as possible with what's happening at home, you know, what the kids have been doing. I don't really know any different, because Pearl was born just before the last Volvo, and then Theo was born just before this Volvo started. So for me, the first year of their life has always been on the road, travelling a lot.
Sure, we're out there on the boat doing it and everything like that, but you know, Jess is left behind to pick up the pieces, if you like, at when we leave the dock. So yeah, it's something that you can't do without the support of your family.
The ninth leg is a straight sprint across the North Atlantic Ocean, covering 3,300 nautical miles. For offshore sailors, a run across the Atlantic is a must.
Also, it's one of my favorite legs. It's probably one of the most interesting legs, because you have lots of choice to do. It's about speed, it's about weather forecast, and it's really an interesting one with many changes. It's a bit shorter than the other one, and it's good because sometimes the 3 weeks leg have a long period of 8 or 10 days where nothing happens. It's just about speed, and it's a bit boring. Yeah, it's going to be quite dynamic.
Dongfeng has consistently finished in the top 4 in each leg, but the team was still without a win in this edition of the Volvo Ocean race. Counting for double points, the leg across to Cardiff was a must-win for the team, as they looked to make gains on the leaders, MAPFRE. Tasked with plotting their course across the Atlantic was French navigator PASCAL BIDEGORRY. He's a veteran of offshore racing, but it's still never easy finding the best route.
When you try to take risk to gain something really important, or other moment you try to not to move a lot, because it's not really easy to take any decision. So voila, you play with the wind, the other boat, with your boat, and trying to managing all that to have the best result.
A split in the fleet occurred early on, with Dongfeng joining MAPFRE in a more northern route, hoping to catch the Gulf Stream. But the wind didn't follow.
Hard for us, no wind in our North Ocean. Really less than all the forecast, so we lost a lot of miles on the fleet in the south. But right now we are in the better position for since 6 hours, and probably for the next 6 hours.
Close to reaching, so fast model. It's going to change a little bit, so it's nice.
And the weather did change, and the boat began to make steady progress back through the fleet into 3rd place, and most importantly, ahead of MAPFRE.
One, oh.
Team Axo Nobel set a new race record for distance sailed in 24 hours, clocking 601.63 miles at an average speed of 25 knots. Yet it wasn't enough for them to claim the leg win, as their Dutch compatriots on Team Brunel did enough to hold them off. Dongfeng settled for 3rd, but by finishing ahead of MAPFRE, they leapfrogged to the top of the overall standings.
It's not too bad. It's a very short lead, and we have a new player coming back from making a good coming back for the 1st place. Is Brunel, only 3 points behind us now, so it's going to be a huge fight and big fight with MAPFRE and Brunel on the next 2 legs. The race is far from finished for us.
The race will head north next to Gothenburg, Sweden, before the final leg down to The Hague in the Netherlands.